next guest into the Daily Connerton Memorial Company interview chair is truly actually one of my favorites. And as I have found out over the months and years, he's one of your favorites as well. And you know why I think that is? I think it's because, we all have a state senator, depending on, what town we live in the district that we have, that we're assigned. But this is a senator who not only fights for his constituents in his district, he's really looking out for all citizens of the state of Connecticut. And, man, just from working up there with him, because he's a former House member and was in the House with me for my couple of terms, but he works hard. And not that others don't, but there's some people, I'm not going to call anybody out in the House or in the Senate, phone it in or just or fulfill the minimum requirements. We'll talk about that in a minute or two. And this guy, it just is always at it. And right now, the legislature's not in session. But something tells me that he's still working on behalf of you, the Connecticut citizen. Let's welcome back the state senator who represents Cheshire, Prospect, Southington, Waterbury, Wolcott, and like I just said, you, no matter where you live in the state. He is State Senator Rob Sampson. Rob, good morning.
Good morning, Gary. Great to talk to you, and thank you for that very, very kind introduction. And thank you for everything you do to make sure the truth gets out over the airwaves and that the people of Connecticut are informed and can make good decisions about their elected officials.
This is why we're here. This is and keep doing the fantastic job that you're doing. And I meant every word I said about you, Rob. I mean, really, when I'm talking to people throughout the state, whether I'm making appearances or giving a keynote speech or emceeing an event, and it's, let's say it's not even in your district, your Senate district, Rob, people will mention you. And they'll say, man, do I wish I had somebody like Rob Sampson, that fighting for me, if they're in a Democrat district or really anywhere throughout our state. Your name comes up quite frequently. So kudos to you and the work that you do for not only your constituents, but really the citizens throughout our state. Year round, I might add.
Just trying to make a difference. I got into politics because I was concerned about the direction of our state and our country, and nothing's changed. I was first elected in 2010, and I'm sad to say that I feel like the country's trajectory, aside from maybe some beneficial Trump years in between, has really trended towards a more progressive, more socialist, more big government philosophy, and I would like nothing more than to reverse that. And I learned a long time ago, Gary, that we can't rely on our politicians to make good decisions. We live in America, and the beauty of America is our system of government, which is a representative form of government where the politicians, the people who are elected, are supposed to do the bidding of the people that they work for. And if there's a problem in this country, it's because too few people are engaged in their own government. So to me, that's my philosophy. I gave up, I will work hard at the Capitol itself, debating bills and fighting the Democrats on the big issues of the day. But where I feel I make the most difference is when I'm traveling around the state, right, meeting people in their own living rooms, engaging with, parents about how to approach their Board of Ed to make change in their school's district, things like that. That's where we're making real change and we're taking back the country.
Do you believe that we are, or is this where we're moving at a sloth space, or some people just want to toss in the towel and just have a doom and gloom attitude, or philosophy? Do you feel that we're making any headway?
Well, I feel like the majority of the country, and especially, Connecticut, I say this all the time, and it was in your promo, the notion that people believe that Connecticut is this, lost cause, deep blue state. I don't believe that.
No, neither do I.
I think that Connecticut, like the rest of the country, is actually conservative. I really do. I think the vast majority of people are conservative. They don't always vote that way. I don't think people are as informed as they should be. And when elections come around, it's confusing for most people. Politics is a complicated thing. I think it's a full-time job, as we were just talking about, even to stay up on what's going on. So the vast majority of people, they're struggling to figure out who to believe. And that's the sad part of our political system. But I think if you actually talk to people and talk to them about issue by issue about their values, I think they are on our side.
All right. So, man, I hope you're right. I think there's a lot of people that I talk to that here's what I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you on the fact that it's not as deep blue, and you're right. I do say that in the promo as what meets the eye. There are so many elections that were won by a Democrat by a handful of votes, but yet when you look at the color-coded map, blue being Democrat, red being Republican, whether it's House of Representatives here in the state or the Senate here in the state of Connecticut, there's more to that than meets the eye because there's a lot of shade. It's shaded blue for the most part for both chambers. But as I said, whether you won by thousands of votes or you only won by a handful, it gets shaded. That color blue. So to your point, without a doubt, there's so many elections that were won by just a handful. And by the way, had more Republicans come out to vote, maybe it wouldn't be shaded as blue throughout in these color-coded maps. It's just there's a lot of disaffected Republicans, and just getting them back to the polls. Yesterday, Rob, and maybe you could explain this better than I did. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody who just don't like the candidates, whether it's for governor or U.S. Senate or whatnot. And they're a registered Republican, and they're basically saying, well, I'm not going to vote for the Democrat. I'm not voting for Lamont. I'm not going to vote for Blumenthal. I'm just not going to vote at all. And I'm sitting there saying, do you realize by not voting, that's like voting for the Democrat, because now we've got to get 2 votes, one to compensate for yours, Maybe you can put it in a different context, though.
Sure. Well, I completely understand that, and I share that frustration. People that follow me know that I really stand for the conservative American principles that the National Republican Party stands for. Mm-hmm. And the Connecticut Republican Party, in many respects, the leadership of our party likes to shy away from those things. They like to differentiate themselves from the Republican Party nationally and historically, and I think that's a mistake. And I think that, one of the problems we have in this state is that there's a philosophy that to win elections, Republicans need to moderate their positions. And I just never believed that. I believe that the value system of the Republican Party is the value system of America. It's the value system that the country was founded upon, and it was good enough to have the American Revolution and to create this great country and to give us the prosperity that we all enjoy today. It ought to be good enough to win elections in Connecticut in 2022. And if our party actually grasped and held on to and promoted those same values of limited government, personal responsibility, hard work, true historical American values, I think we would do so much better. But it's unfortunate because our party is divided, and there's a lot of confusion among candidates even over where they should stand. They're getting direction from different people. They're getting direction from their constituents, but they're getting direction from the state party, legislative leaders, and so forth. We need a brand that is cohesive and understandable to the people of Connecticut to offer them something different from the Democrats. And I'm actually very pleased that yesterday we did something as a Republican Party that I think goes a long way towards that. And that is we came out with this Affordable Connecticut plan. The Democrats this election cycle here are going to try and make this all about guns and abortion and every side issue that they can. Not that those are not important issues, but the things that are affecting people in Connecticut right now are the high cost of living, the constant rising cost of goods and services. Inflation is off the charts, fuel prices, of course, and crime. Those are the things that this election ought to be about. And Republicans are right on all of those things, and the Democrats have done unbelievable damage. Yesterday, I joined Republican colleagues in front of the state capitol to come out with this Affordable Connecticut plan to once again challenge the Democrats to give more tax relief. The state of Connecticut is loaded, for lack of a better term. It is awash with money for 2 reasons. One, the federal government keeps giving the states all of this freshly printed cash that is causing this inflation. And also, because of inflation itself, the state brings in more and more tax receipts. As prices go up on goods and services, so do the taxes that are collected. So the state has lots and lots of extra money right now, and I consider that overtaxation. And what you should do with overtaxation is return it to the taxpayers. So we came out with a plan yesterday that would actually give back $750 million in genuine tax relief designed to give some relief to Connecticut residents because they're suffering under inflation and high gas prices.
And all people need to do is head over to www.affordableconnecticut.com. Once again, it's affordableconnecticut.com in order to see this tax relief plan that you just mentioned. And in fact, there's a petition they can sign, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, and in order to make this happen, we would have to go in for a special session at the state capitol. And unfortunately, the only folks who can call a special session are the governor and the majority Democrats. We do not have that power in the minority. So we've got to go back to what our conversation started with, which is that the power lies with the people. And if the people of Connecticut want to see genuine tax relief and they want their tax money that was taken by the state in excess returned to them, they have the power to make that happen, which means they've got to take the moment to encourage their local legislators to support this. Go on the website and sign the petition. This is $750 million worth of tax relief. It is nothing to sneeze at. I'm quite proud that my caucus, the Senate Republicans and House Republicans, put this together. It is a fraction of what I would do if I could, Gary. I think you know that.
Where do you plan on taking this petition and when?
Well, we're going to have some rallies. I just saw that one of them is scheduled for Torrington, and I just talked to some folks on my staff, and I'm planning on doing at least one event in Southington and maybe two. And I'm sure that my colleagues will be doing them all around the state. So I fully expect that, within the next few weeks, you're going to start hearing this on the news on a regular basis, that there are Republican legislators all across Connecticut, pounding the pavement and really trying to hold the Democrats' feet to the fire. This is money that belongs to the people of Connecticut, and right now they could really use it.
Do you plan on taking this to the governor's office at some point?
Yeah, I don't know what the leadership's plan is. I don't know how many signatures is our goal to collect before we can take it to the governor or whatever. But I think that what we were going to do really is try and just create as much public energy for this as we possibly can.
Gotcha.
And it serves several purposes. I'm hopeful that we back the Democrats into a corner and they are forced to do this. But either way, it's a message to the citizens of Connecticut who wants to do what. Which party is the one that is looking out for the citizens of Connecticut? Who wants to actually return your tax money back to you?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're talking to State Senator Rob Sampson. Rob, we often talk about, and I referenced this a moment ago, lawmakers who just do the bare minimum. They fulfill the minimum requirements, and they vote for the bills, but they don't necessarily talk face-to-face with the people who actually elected them. But you and many Republicans, however, I know that you guys hold town hall meetings. In fact, I think this very evening you are having a town hall meeting in Cheshire, right? Their town hall at 6:30 with Reps Craig Fishbein and Leslie Zupkis, right?
That is absolutely correct.
Anyone can attend.
Holding 4 in total, and I just finished my Southington one on Monday, and I had Prospect earlier that week. Cheshire is tonight, and I've got the town of Woolcott is coming up on Monday night. And nothing better than town hall meetings, Gary. I'm sure you enjoyed them thoroughly when you were doing them. It's the best chance you have to engage with people who are really, really concerned about what's going on and to give them the answers they need. Because it's so hard, as a constituent, to find out what's really going on. The news media, we could talk about that all day. I think they try their best to make sure that the stories are reported, but that's never the whole story. There's always a lot more to what's going on, and there's a lot more nuance in each one of the bills that we deal with. It's a frustration, as you know, the way they characterize the bills in Hartford. They title them in certain ways for political effect, and so many things. I have 100 sections, and you like 28, section 1 through 20, but section 25 through 30 is terrible, and you've got to make tough decisions up there, and that just does not get conveyed to the people we represent. And those town hall meetings are a place to do that.
Rob, what's the overall mood of your constituents? Like, in other words, what are they saying to you at these town hall gatherings? And is it just a circular conversation? Is it just Republicans talking to Republicans? Or are you reaching out to some of the moderate Democrats or some of the independents or unaffiliated? Because let me tell you something, they're pretty frustrated too. And I think it's fair game. I really think they're going to gravitate to the Republican Party this November.
I really do. I think that this cycle, more than ever, It's one of those things. We started talking about how whether or not people are really, really engaged in their government and know what's going on.
That's true too.
And sadly, the worst part of this is that things have to be bad for people to start paying attention. But things are bad. We're talking about $5 gasoline. Who knows where that ends? I'm talking to senior citizens who are gravely concerned about the cost of heating oil, for example. Winter is, a few months away, but it's coming. And if this does not change, there are a great many people across our state who are very concerned and not sure how they're going to be able to afford to heat their homes this winter. Our actual Affordable Connecticut program has some additional protection for low-income citizens who are going to have trouble paying for their heating this winter. But again, that doesn't go far enough either. And I hate to even create another entitlement for that. I'd much rather have affordable heat for citizens.
Yeah, right.
And we've got to work on the policies to do that. But so, yes, people are hurting. And as a result, they are paying attention. And the more they pay attention, I think the more they find out who's in their corner. And that bodes well for Republicans this cycle.
And another reason to head on over to AffordableConnecticut.com to see the tax relief plan and sign the petition that you referenced and find out more of the details on how we can get some of that $750 million back that really should belong in the taxpayer's pocket. Hey, before we run out of time, what is up with Lamont's $150,000 a year misinformation czar?
Yeah, isn't that unbelievable?
Oh, my goodness.
Name a country that is not a tyrannical dictatorship that has a ministry of truth to control the propaganda coming out of the government agencies. It's just shocking to me that they would engage in this kind of thing. And, this is not new. I mean, I think most people have heard about this in the last couple of weeks because it kind of popped in the national news cycle. But the announcement was made several months ago. And, in fact, they had a very similar office established in the 2020 election. And most people don't know that. But the idea behind it is that the Secretary of State's office wants to monitor social media for what they consider to be misinformation or disinformation regarding elections. And that is just completely suspect because clearly they're upset about the national attention that is being given to the many stories that have to do with voter fraud and election integrity all across this country. The 2000 Mules movie that is out everywhere, which clearly illustrates the many problems with mail-in voting and drop boxes and that kind of things. And we have those problems in Connecticut, and they're ashamed to admit that. I don't know if they're afraid that it's going to be exposed. They might have completely legitimate reasons. Maybe they want to stop people from making up stories about Russian collusion, but I doubt it. The government is no place for a misinformation officer.
Well, and they've got the media in their back pocket as it is. The newspapers and the television stations are in their back pocket. I mean, so what is this? Does this czar say, well, if they're working for the person who is paying them, then even if it's truth, if the governor doesn't like it, the truth hurts, as they say. He can just have him remove it, right? That's not right. That's not.
Of course, it's not. I mean, look at social media in general. We know that.
True.
Facebook and some of the other social media giants, they every day they censor various conservative speech, and they pay favorites and they influence elections.
Yeah, very true.
They're private entities. They have the right to do it. I don't like it. I think it's un-American, and I think it's somewhat evil, in fact. Yeah. But that's a different story from a government-paid individual whose job, really, it sounds like, is to promote propaganda.
Rob, we're out of time. We got to get you back on more often, my friend. But you hit the nail on the head. Thanks for being with us this morning. We'll talk soon.
Always my pleasure. Thanks, Gary.
Pleasure's always mine. We come back. It's